Welcome back, everybody. It's been quite a while since I've done a video, and it's about time I get my button gear and get one back out to you. I need you to see what we're doing. It's pretty exciting, and we've made a ton of progress on the Merlin. Now, I'm going to have to backtrack right back to where we were. The last episode was the pressings. I did the Rolls-Royce logo and the Merlin 3 logo that are going on the fenders. Well, I've got some footage here of just the installation and the finishing of that job, so I'm going to get to that first, and then my next episode is going to be covering all of the details of systems advancement on this this engine build itself. So now, there's a lot of people out there that are asking why we're focusing so much effort on this Merlin and what the heck it has to do with the airworthy rebuild of a Hawker Typhoon. It's a good question, and they're valid concerns. We have a paid channel that many of you know about, and if you're able to, please head over there. It makes a world of difference to what we do here. And on that, I wanted to address the concerns a little bit, and I let the cat out of the bag of exactly what's going to happen when the Merlin is complete and how that is going to benefit the airworthy rebuild of Hawker Typhoon JP843. So that's the kind of benefits that you get if you head over there, if you're able to. If you're not able to, we love you. You guys support us. You have kind words. Everything helps, and you're going to find out as well as soon as I'm able to release everything publicly, and you're going to be very pleased to see what happens here. So it's all worth it. It'll all come out in due time, and I thank you all for your patience and your support. In the meantime, we'll get to the video here on the completion of all the logos and the decorative work, I guess, that was done to the fenders. Before I do that, though, I've got another little thing that I do, and it's kind of to support equipment and things that are not necessarily direct costs with the Typhoon. So it's not part of the Typhoon legacy thing, but you guys have seen a little bit of it. I'll leverage credit to buy, say, the Alfa Romeo, or acquire through trades the Bristol Taurus engines, and kind of horse trade my way through that. Well, one of the things that I recently acquired was a Canadair Silver Star. A lot of you would be more familiar with a Lockheed T-33 or T-Bird. It's the Canadair built version of that with the Rolls-Royce Neen 10 engine. I was fortunate enough to acquire one at auction, and it's no different than the engines. Horse trade material. I've acquired it. It's now gone on its merry way to a new owner down in Chemainus, British Columbia, where you can see it on display. And any money that I'm able to make by doing that kind of stuff goes towards equipment and support for the airworthy rebuild of Hawker Typhoon JP843. And what I'm trying to do right now is take a bunch of those things, a bunch of the things that I've acquired and traded. I want the space back in the shop first and foremost. We have a lot of things happening in the near future that we need that space for. But it's also to help acquire new equipment that'll help advance the rebuild without using any of the contributions or donations from all the people that want to see the rebuild progress. So my goal now is, I'm sure you've all noticed that manufacturing is backed up everywhere for everything. A company like Typhoon Legacy doesn't necessarily take the highest priority when we're trying to get things machined from outside sources. So we're capable of doing lathe work and mill work and some indexing and things like that here with our machines. But when we get into the cockpit section that is now basically complete design-wise and verified and ready for production, we have hundreds, if not thousands, of files for parts that need to be produced. And they need to be produced in numbers and repetitively. So what I'd like to do to keep things moving along is acquire a CNC lathe for the shop here, and that'll allow us to use the files that we've already established, have that machine run essentially in the background, producing all the parts we need for cockpit assembly while we finish up the monocoque section once the Merlin's gone. So always look into the future, trying to get these things going, and a bit of horse trading here to get that done. And I just wanted to share some pictures of this T-33 that I acquired, its arrival, its departure, and a happy little memory that this was actually an aircraft that came out of 414 Squadron in Comox, British Columbia, and that's a squadron that I did some apprentice work with back in the late 90s as an aircraft structures technician, and this would have been one of the aircraft that was there at the time. So enjoy these pictures, and then I'll move you on into the last little bit of the fender detail. So kind of related, but not really related. I hope you guys enjoyed that. It was a pretty cool experience to have that here. By the end run of it, I was happy to see it go. It just took up so much space, but it did help advance my CNC lathe cause that I'm hoping to move forward. Tricky situation, very expensive, but it could really advance our rebuild as well as support other rebuilds with the data that we've created. So anyway, onwards, upwards. Here's the fenders. That looks better. The back of this R and the edge of the cutout on the guard itself are nice and parallel. Everything seems to be centered left and right and up and down. So next step will be to start drilling holes and transferring the holes on the fender guard in through our logo. Just want to show you a close-up of these guys here. This is a 332 in-out deburr. The pilot diameter is here is the diameter of the hole that we're drilling, or just slightly under. And you can see the cutting piece has a cutting edge on the forward side and on the rear side there. So as it goes in, this is spring-loaded. It drops down, but it has enough pressure on that edge to deburr the front face of the panel. And then it drops down, goes through, and on the way back, exact same thing. That back edge there comes back through, has enough pressure to deburr the back face of the panel, pops down and comes back out. So it all happens fairly quickly, but it saves quite a bit of time when you're doing a lot of holes and you need to do both sides of a sheet. And of course, for this exercise, I want to make the rivets help bring everything together. So I'm using copper rivets. These are tiny. I don't know if you're going to be able to see them. But they'll just be a nice blend between the materials that I'm using and just kind of help tie it all together. So that worked out pretty well. All in there nicely. I've left that on there again. So now it's time to flip it over and set up our Rolls-Royce logo, which is over here. And there we go. That worked out quite nicely. So that's the Rolls-Royce logo, and we've got the Merlin 3 placard up on the top. Both left and right fender guards are now assembled. The next step is going to be to create trim strips. All the radii are cleaned up on the blanks, and I've actually cut them down into the lengths that are needed now. Save that video process. And what I've done is I've added these little corner pieces. They are going to allow the corners to have enough material to create the radius that matches the fender guards themselves. So my next step now is going to be to take all of these assemblies and slowly TIG weld them together. And then I'll be able to mark those corners and do the final trim around the radii. So I'll get all of the four corners on this one done like that, and the four corners on the other one, and then I'll have a look at it to see if we need to polish any further. I think a nice satin finish is probably ideal for this because we've got a lot of gloss elsewhere. Next step is to roll them to the profile to fit the fender correctly, and before I do that I'm going to cover them in tape just so that the roller doesn't impart any kind of debris or marking on the finished surface. That looks pretty good. I'm going to take that over to the fender and give it a quick fit. So the gaps are all good. Now all I've got to do is devise a way to clamp this all together and transfer my holes into it so we can either rivet or screw it down to the fender and wash our hands with it. Aside from deburring and all that shenanigans, this is essentially a three-step process now that it's clamped in position. So what I'm going to do is, everything's marked out. I'm going to pilot drill every one of these holes to a 1/8 pilot and clamp them in position with these wing nut clamps, Cleco clamps. Once that's done, I'll oversize them to a 3/16 or it's actually a number 10 drill bit, so 193 thou, which is a clearance hole for a 3/16 or a 1032 screw, and then countersink them. So not rocket science here, guys. I'm just going to run through this and then we'll get to fitting this on the trailer. I grabbed a 1/8 punch just to help with alignment in case the screws don't want to fall in. I don't want to drill them and enlarge the holes at all, so that works really well. And a screwdriver and a nut driver, and we're off to the races. And there we go. I've finished both fender covers. That's a bit of a milestone, my friends. Both fender covers are now installed, inners, all that stuff's done. I'm going to have to pull these off because I don't want any scratches or imperfections on them, but they turned out really well. And now I can move on to welding some of our tanks and system stuff that needs to be put together. And hopefully we'll have Rob back pretty soon and we'll get carburetors and magnetos all done. Alright guys, I promise, that's it. No more video work on the fenders. I've put them at the back of the shop now. They're done, they're covered. I don't even like going close to them. The next episode I'm filming right now, and that's going to bring up-to-date information to you on all of the advancements we've made on the systems for the Merlin here. And it should be pretty exciting. We're really close to operational trials with this engine now, and nervous and excited at the same time, of course. But that's coming up next, and of course you're going to see that first if you're a paid subscriber over on our channel. If you're not and you're able to head over there, it's a couple bucks a month. You get advanced information like understanding what this Merlin's being built for that's there now, as well as early video launches and all that stuff, forums, good stuff like that. If you're unable to help us out with that, it's okay. We still love you and we love communicating with you. If you follow us on YouTube, watch an ad or two, that helps too. And interact as much as you can. We like to see the comments and positive words that you guys can share with us. Until next time, guys, take care. Cheers.